Triplets took the same picture for 33 years but had no idea when it would be their last. Their mom was overjoyed about taking her triplets' pictures every single year. However, she had no idea that this tradition would stop for her before they were much older. In 1985, Karen Schultz had taken a photo of her three babies, Peter, Mark, and Dennis, on their very first birthday. Little did she realize that this single image would lead to almost 33 years of the boys being together, showing just how much their personalities had changed over the years. When their second birthday came, Karen had made another sign for the boys. This time, they were much more aware of what was going on around them and were surprisingly more than happy to line up and represent the camera. With their blonde hair and cute soccer jerseys, the 3-year-old twins were smiling. The boys were slowly growing up, and when it soon came time to take their birthday pictures, something had changed. It was already their 7th birthday, and Peter, Mark, and Dennis were doing something different. When the boys reached the age of 8, they stuck to their new culture of different jerseys. Although the polka dot pattern was a little similar, they decided to play with different colors. Sadly, just a month after their birthday photo was taken, their house had burned down because of a gas leak. For a while, the boys and their mother shifted residence to live with their neighbor, Wilma. She even helped Karen with the 9th birthday and the boys' picture. Eventually, the small family moved to a mobile home and waited until their home was rebuilt. It was going to take a year, but the boys and their mother gradually managed to get back. The 12th birthday was quite difficult for the 3 children. While Mark and Dennis were busy getting ready to move to high school, Peter was walking out of the doctor's office. That same year, he was diagnosed with epilepsy and even had a seizure that would keep him out of school for several days at a time. Still, the brothers took their annual photograph and smiled. Unfortunately, when the brothers' 13th birthday came, Peter's parents had decided that it would be best for him to return to elementary school while his brothers had moved on to high school. By the time the boys were 14, Peter was all ready to join his brothers in high school. As one of the most intelligent students in the class, Peter then easily switched from one school to another. It was also easier now that he was back with his brothers. When the brothers turned 15, Peter had been restored to the same level as Mark and Dennis. He was very smart and determined to do the job, which ultimately came out in the open. Their picture of the year came and went, and in this case, there were bead necklaces thrown into the mixture. The brothers graduated from high school at the age of 18. Each decided that he wanted to pursue higher education, with Mark wanting to become a teacher and Dennis as a sports mason. However, Peter simply wanted to go to school and study to become an architect. Peter had been paralyzed for quite some time. Unfortunately, just before the 3 children were 19, he suffered a major setback in his life. Happily, someone was there to help Peter recover from his coma, but fear had a lasting effect on Peter's life. During his final episode, Peter was rather anxious about being alone. So, when the brothers were in their late 20s, Mark and Dennis had decided to move to Berlin to be with Peter. By this time, they were all over the country, working on their studies. The brothers were together on their 21st birthday, living and studying in Berlin. With the sign they have had since childhood, the boys took another photo. By the time the boys had turned 23 in 2008, each of them had completed their respective courses. It should have been a wonderful time for them. Sadly, their mother, Karen, recently discovered that she had a malignant growth in her gut. Hearing this news, the 3 boys returned home to care for their mother. Sadly, Karen had passed away from colon cancer when the boys turned 27. The brothers inherited the house and decided to live there together since it was big enough. And when Peter and his girlfriend Susan found out they were pregnant, they could not have been happier that their baby would grow up in the very same house as him. While Peter was very excited to be a father, Mark and Dennis were much more elated about being uncles for the very first time. But even in the middle of this huge lift event, the brothers still made time for their birthday picture. And this tradition didn't stop right until they crossed over into their 30s. The final photo on their journey sees these brothers at 33 with a very hopeful smile on their faces. We wonder what's next in line for the brothers.